So imagine making $250,000 a year, but still to be considered broke. Now, this is according to Bloomberg. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys so you guys can see exactly what it is that I'm looking at. But in the state of New York, city of New York, and San Francisco, a $250,000 salary has a purchasing power of only $83,000 after accounting for taxes and adjusting for the remaining amount for the local cost of living. And this kind of really took me back to the basics. And by that, I mean, how and why did I move from the state of Southern California to Arizona? And at least I'm able to speak from my experience. First off, I wanted to break down those numbers for you because they said out of $250,000, which is $250,000, if you actually look into the statistic, that is the top 5% of the US. The top 5%. Imagine be the top 5% based off of income in the US and to not really be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. I mean, that's absolutely insane to me. I went ahead and I did some additional research. I wanted to make sure that I understood what goes into that cost. $250,000, nearly half of that goes into just taxes. I think that's absolutely insane, but unfortunately, that's what they have going on in San Francisco. On top of that, even in the most basic way, as a single individual, right? Let's say that you just have a studio, which means like an open floor plan where it's not necessarily that you have a bedroom, it's just an open layout, right? A studio apartment, $2,900, nearly $3,000. If you have a one bedroom apartment, $3,500. If you have a two bedroom apartment, $5,000. And that was the part that was insane to me. It's that most likely, you have a partner, right? And if you have an office or whatever it is that you might have at home, $5,000, $60,000 a year just in rent. And I even did some further research and I asked what the cost based off of the local place of living is. And in the city of San Francisco, it's anywhere from around $1,500 for an individual, not including rent, and up to $5,000 for a family of four. So imagine being a family of four, an individual that makes $250,000. Let's say on the traditional side, your wife stays home with the kids, right? $250,000, half of that goes nearly all to taxes. On top of that, $5,000 of that for a two-bedroom apartment is $5,000 on average. And then on top of that, the cost of living is, again, an additional $5,000. I mean, just the cost of living with the rent and the cost of living based off of, I'm sure just food and groceries and necessities is another $5,000. You're talking about $120,000 a year just to live in that city. And this brings me back to the overall basics. At what point does it become counterproductive based off of the area that you live in that your quality of life is actually affected, right? I grew up in Southern California. I've never been a huge outdoorsy kind of guy. I mean, I would go surfing and I sometimes did enjoy, snowboarding in like Mount High or Big Bear or something like that. But ultimately it wasn't the reason. I mean, I grew up there, right? So I was kind of spoiled by it. I moved over to Arizona and I've acclimated just fine, right? And the crazy part about that to me was I didn't realize how much the local cost of living affects someone's quality of life. So I wanted to ask you, are you in a pickle right now where you're beginning to make a little bit more money, but because of the local cost of living based off of either your rent or your mortgage or just how expensive it is to live in the city that you actually live, that you do well for yourself, but because of the local cost of living, it takes away from your overall quality of life and potentially being able to invest into a better future, right? And I, just like many other people out there, took a very simple approach and I asked ChatGPT, hey, what places are both the best cities, but also most affordable places to live in the US? And this is, of course, just as a joke, but according to ChatGPT, they said Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Omaha, Nebraska, we have Indianapolis, Indiana, we have Kansas City, Missouri, Nashville, Tennessee, Austin, Texas, North Carolina, Utah, Boise, Idaho, and Iowa. I don't know about you guys. Arizona's not on that list. In my opinion, I think Arizona is quite affordable, but also not a bad area to live in if during the summer months, of course, you can accommodate the heat. I know that one of the best investments I ever made, unknowingly, I'm not going to pretend like I knew exactly what I was doing. I wanted to go to ASU, right? I was in California. I knew that the cost of living was less, and my goal was to buy a house at a very early age. And I reached my goal at age 20, I think 11 days, right before I actually turned 21. I bought my first house in Gilbert, Arizona for $176,000. That house is now worth over $500,000, and I have it set up as an Airbnb. I didn't realize how much the local cost of living and being able to separate myself from other people and other distractions could really positively influence my life. So I thought I'd share this video with you because I found it to be a very interesting topic. I know a lot of you guys are beginning to do very well and or have a goal of doing very well, but I also wanted to remind you how the local cost of living, but also the area that you live in, does affect your overall quality of life. And at the end of the day, why work so hard if you're just going to end up giving it back based off of the expense in the city that you live in? Something to take into consideration, right? At what point are you living to work instead of actually enjoying your life and working to live? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this video. I love making videos like this. I know it's a little bit different, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing if you feel like we earned it. And friendly reminder, if you have any questions about what we talked about today, I'm always one direct message away. Feel free to send me a direct message via Instagram, and that's going to be the third link in the description down below. Also, again, I'm going to see you guys at Market Open for our live trading session. And if you've ever wanted to see what it's like to watch someone trade live, that's that second link in the description down below. And I'll see you on Monday at Market Open for our live trading session. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.